Everyone, welcome to the breakdown with me, your host, Adam Wilkin. Now, normally I'm joined by my lovely Manchester B, but for some reason,
ready? Let's
What?
do it.
Sorry, there's something going on here.
What's happening?
Come on. I'm the definition of.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Britballin. I'm your national champion, Mike McGugan, joined by my wonderful edge of North, Adam Wilkin. How are we doing this evening?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How's my national champion doing this evening?
Absolutely buzzing, my mate. Absolutely buzzing, yeah. I'm here for it. I'm here. I'm alive. Borderline alive. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Hey, mate, I'm buzzing. Well done.
Buzzing.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yep, it was I mean, I'll even say it for everyone. It wasn't as expected as I probably thought it was going to be. I thought it'd be a closer game, but we turned up, bitched up, got off, didn't we? Came down to London, took the dub, paid £30 in parking, got ourselves out of there.
£30 in parking.
Yeah.
Jesus. Comments flying in here, by the way. Hey, you've got to love it.
It's always going to be the way.
Got to love to see it. Best intro ever, someone's saying. This one's my favorite. I love the whole blue milk, me.
Oh, mate. Like, honestly, that started this year, and it was kind of, one of those things as it grows throughout the year, and it just kind of kept picking up momentum, and then, yeah, when he was chugging that milk at the end of the game, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Mate, class. Absolutely class.
Oh.
Comments still coming in.
Yeah.
I knew I had 2 days on a bender, passed out 4 hours at home this afternoon.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Yeah. Just for everyone, we had to play less than 30 seconds because it might have been taken down, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, you've got to know those copyright laws, you know what I mean?
That's it. You've got to know the copyright laws. It's so important. Great topic there. Worst team in Premiership history.
Yeah.
Funny story.
That's how we started talking.
It's very true, yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, you probably watched the show long enough to know. Me and Adam started speaking because some idiot over social media said that the Titans, when we got promoted, were the worst team in Premiership history.
That wasn't me, by the way, just in case people are thinking that was fucking me.
Some Leicester wanker. Joke's on you, motherfucker!
I called that, by the way.
You did. You had our back then. Did call us for the final. Did say.
Well, I wasn't allowed to. I had to pick the opposite.
That's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough.
By the way, I will say this though. So, when I play like online games and that with a few of the guys, right? And they know nothing about American football.
Yeah.
But I called all games this weekend and told someone to put a bet on. One lad said he could only bet on the Prem game.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. And he fucked it. He went the wrong way.
Oh, I forgot that you could have bet on it. I'd have bet my bloody house that we were going to beat them.
I couldn't believe
should
it.
have known. We had a vested interest.
I know. You should have bet. Should have bet.
I'll tell you what, our guest could have bet, and then he could have literally threw the game.
Yeah, but he literally did throw the game, though.
He did.
He literally threw the game all over the place.
All over them Warriors. All over them bitches. No. One thing I will say, to be fair, I might wind the Warriors up, but no, they were great sports. It was a great game, really, really intense. And, afterwards, I spoke to a lot of their guys afterwards, and it was kind of like, fair play. Come speak to us when you get another 5 rings. I said, don't worry, I will. So, no, there's some guys there. They
all right, see you in 6 years.
But no, there was they was as graceful in defeat as they usually are in victory. So they're kind of very level playing field. You're not going to get much emotion out of them. So no, it's a good game.
People watching that saying they didn't know how to do it. It was a request to bet you had to do it.
Oh, was it a request to bet?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I would have done that. Loads of comments coming in. Thanks everyone. Great win. The last time the trophy was in Manchester was 1990. That was for the Manchester Spartans. Yeah. We loved watching the games over the weekend. Yeah, there was a good set of games over the weekend. I think whilst we're here, we may as well get our guest in and talk about the biggest game of the weekend.
That's what's up. After Bucks, crush crews after us. No games, we ain't laughing much. Nothing but big things.
Welcome to the show, Sam. MVP. You need to change your name. You can't just yeah, good, mate. Good.
I'll change it. I'll just put MVP. No, you're not. You're all good, mate. Don't worry.
Oh, you're good. You're all right. There you go. It's better now. There's nothing else to it. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Thanks very
Martin
much.
commenting. This podcast needs to be taken down. Hey, listen, this has been waiting. We've been waiting 5 years for something to come up now.
Christ, Martin, don't say that at the minute, please.
I know. Don't worry. Yeah, there's time yet, Martin. Don't worry about that.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Welcome to the show, Sam. Obviously, we was talking earlier in the day, and I said, why don't you just come on the show, as you are the MVP of the British American Football National Final. And I've not really spoken to you about it, but very well deserved. We spoke about it before, and what was it like? Obviously, first of all, winning the MVP. Actually, a lot of hard work, fair reflection, I would say, of the work that you put in.
Feels, I don't know, like I think I talked to you yesterday about it. Like I don't even know if it's fully sunk in yet that we did it. We knew all along that we believed that we should and could be there. But obviously doing it's another thing. And I don't know, people who've won a national final before. I was talking to Jason Scott earlier on today. And obviously back in 2017, they managed to do the same thing. And he talked about how it was a really strange few days after it happened because I've slept about 15 hours total over the past 3 days. So that's one thing. All the traveling, the exhaustion of the game itself, the physical and mental side of things, the anxiety that comes along with it and all the stress. And but then you have the elation of the actual win itself, and it just feels unbelievable to know that you've done the most that you possibly can do in this country playing American football. Like to go higher, you have to it either has to be a GB thing, or you have to go outside of the country. It just feels incredible. And obviously for some people on that team, it might be their first year playing American football with the Titans. I know for people like you, people like Liam Twigg, James Dean, Homer, and I'm not going to go through a list of everybody, but quite a few people who've even been at that team longer than I have, pre-2017 years, where you guys were maybe knocking around Div 1 or even Div 2. Like, to get to where we've got to now, in the 5 years that I've been there, just feels, I don't know. For me, it's the summation of 20 years trying to get there. You know, I've been playing for 20 years now, since 2012, started off at Chorley. And in 2015, we played a junior contact game at Don Valley Stadium in Sheffield at the half time of a Blitz. Maybe it was Coventry Jets game. And my dad said to me on the phone today, he said, when I was at that game watching you guys do your
I'm not bringing up that comment. Sorry.
No, that's not coming up that comment.
No, definitely not. I get wrong, so no.
Yeah. just so Sam can see it as well, that's all.
Yeah.
Shout out to the officials. We love officials. We do.
We actually do.
Yeah, so we did agree yesterday that Sam had to come on the show just to bring the class levels up from Manchester.
I'm going to bring them back down. You get your moment in the sun, right? You know what I mean? We'll get down to your level in a second, right?
We played. My dad said to me that he never pictured, you know, that it was ever even a possibility to play in that. God, yeah. Never even a possibility to play in that game where we were just like the halftime exhibition. But, you know, now we're there and run it back.
That's it. Run it back. But it's a new season starting now as well.
It's a new season,
baby. Measure them up.
We're recruiting now, everyone who's watching.
Oh, we're there. We're there. I'll do this for you. We're there. Just make it easier. We're there. How can I do this? I'll make it easier just for everyone.
Yes.
Nice. There you go.
Let's go, the boys. Let's go. We'll get another one of these soon, and then hopefully get a third.
That was it. Just Sam there. That was your chance to recruit as many people as possible. Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back on it.
I'll be in plenty of people's DMs over the coming months.
I'll have a week or so to enjoy it, though.
If I am, though, don't take it as an insult. It's a sign of respect.
Yeah, that's a fair point. No, so obviously the game. Let's get into the game a little bit. Obviously saying obviously all the time. What was it like? Obviously, pre-game, it was a bit tense. The Warriors did their statement of walking out as opposed to running out through the tunnel. It felt like it was on a cliff edge for that first quarter. Whilst Titans moved the ball, it was a little bit of a defensive battle. What do you think was that key moment within there where you felt actually this isn't the same game as always? Obviously, Manchester took a couple of hidings from Warriors. Where was it where you thought, you know, we've seen tape, we've planned and everything like that, but you never know until you step up and play them. Where did you feel that moment was actually, you know, hang on a minute, these are here for us here?
So, obviously, pre-game, you know, we did all of our prep for the 2 weeks leading up to it, and you know, it was a different. We played the Warriors in 2018 and 2019, and you know, just being completely candid, 2018. You know, I went into that game and I was a bit nervous. You know, I was a bit scared, and you know, they knocked living crap out of us, and fair play to them. And then 2019, you know, we went back and it wasn't fear this time. It was more just like, okay, are we up to this? Can we do this? You know. And they knocked the crap out of us again, like 68 or 63-0 or something like that. And so we played the Warriors twice leading up to this game and never even scored a point. Never mind even considered stopping them defensively. So this year felt a lot different, even in the build-up to it. You know, we went into that game confident that we could do it, you know, not complacent. You know, you cannot go in there and think, oh, you know, Warriors will walk them. You know, but we went into the game. We got rid of the name Warriors. You know, I keep saying it now, but that's just habitual. We got rid of the name Warriors. We were not calling them the Warriors. They are London, because the name Warriors has a mystique around it, and people will sit there and say the Warriors this, the Warriors that, and it has that fear-inducing ability in people. And we didn't want anybody to sit there and think you need to fear the Warriors. That you need to respect them. Of course you do, but not fear them. And I think that with all the planning we did, with all the prep that we did, when it got to the point where we came out on the first offensive drive and they were in They were in the defense that we expected them to be in, which doesn't make us geniuses. It's just that's what the defense they run. That was one big confidence boost. And then straight from the off, we were pretty aggressive with our play calling, and you have to be. You cannot play conservative in that game. And we got a couple of chip shots here and there. We were working the way down the field. And, I think that once we got onto that kind of second drive where we got a couple of first downs, I think that was really the point where I was like, everything that we have said that will work. We just have to stick to that game plan. And when the Warriors start doing what we want them to do, that's when we're going to start scoring. And fortunately, due to just everybody executing, everybody following that game plan, and Luke Carlton's unbelievable, game, play calling and stuff like that, and then that's how it went. And so it just. I think the commentators mentioned a couple of times, everything seems to be going Manchester's way. And I don't really believe in luck, but what certainly seems to happen is I do believe in momentum. Momentum is an enormous thing, and I believe that we had the momentum for most of the game, if not all of it.
Yeah, it's fair to say I've heard that a couple of times, kind of they didn't play their game. And different things like that. But I've always played my worst games when I'm getting beat as well. Like, it happens because another side comes, punches you in the mouth, and it's not what you expect. So that's why you're off your game. It's not necessarily, you never play your best game and lose, really. It's very rare. You think, we played awesome then, because you would have won if you played awesome. A question, it's a good point from Craig. He said, obviously, it helps when Tom Jones hurdles a man on the first drive. Just like Tom Jones the world, and we just live in it, let's all be honest. Incredible performance from.
He's free. He's what? He's 21, 22 years old, and just so people who are watching might not know this, but Tom Jones was injured for most of the year. He didn't play a single regular season game for us, and managed to, he worked really hard on his physiotherapy and getting himself back into good health, ready for that playoff run. We went into the Bristol semi-final game with all of our running backs available to us. Joe Nicholson, who's a GB running back, Ryan Newton, who has previously been in GB running back contention, Tom Jones, who was part of the GB program but was released due to his injury, and I think there's conversations perhaps going on now about Tom Jones.
I've watched 2 Titans games in the last 2 years, and both games he's hurdled someone.
That first one against Northumberland, he hurdled a man who was stood up,
and carried on running.
Unfathomable athleticism.
It wasn't like his legs split; his feet went over the kid's head. Yeah. But it was disgusting.
So we had our full stable of backs. I'm not going to forget. John Pangego, who is an absolute bulldozer of a guy. If it's pass protection, if it's rollout protection, I'm always wanting John in.
Me and Mike spoke about this on the phone earlier, and I said he is legit, by the way, because he'll just stick his shoulder into anything.
Yeah. He's a very, very. Well, I say this, I'm going to counter this. He's a very, very selfless player. Mm-hmm. He wants the ball a lot. He'll let you know getting it, but equally, when the play is called, he will do whatever is required of him.
That might be one of my... Obviously, taking away the defense, obviously, you'll get a load of grief in the comments about the defense, obviously, because you've not mentioned it yet. That moment when John lowered the boom on one of the biggest linebackers and really, really kind of run him over a little bit, I think that was the moment for me where it was like, hang on a minute, that's us, doing what the Warriors have always done to everyone else.
Some more insight into the actual game there, and again, John being completely selfless. We had a 3rd and long in the 4th quarter just before we kicked a field goal. We took a timeout, and I went over to the sideline and talked to our offensive coordinator Luke about what we wanted to do here. It was 3rd and maybe 12 or 13. And I really wanted to make sure that we just were able to kick the field goal, and it was something like a 35, 40-yard field goal, but we've got that faith in Aaron Bocott to be able to do that. So we went over to the sideline and basically decided, yes, we are going to make sure that we just keep possession of this ball. We're going to run the ball and make sure that we put Aaron in the best possible position to kick the field goal. So me and Luke went over to Aaron during the timeout and asked him, where do you need to be on the field to have the best chance of kicking this ball? We were currently on the right hash, and Aaron wanted the ball in the middle of the field. So on this 3rd and 15 play or 3rd and 12 play, basically me and Luke said to John, we're going to call this run play, and you need to get over to the middle of the field. If you can get a yard or two, great. Well, like, that's fantastic. But all you need to do is make sure that ball is central field. And he did exactly that. He went out of his way, went straight into a tackle because there was nowhere else to go, got middle of the field, and then obviously Aaron Bocott nailed that 40-yard field goal.
Can I just say, I speak to teams all the time, like, about 3rd down situations. These are the only team that I've spoken to recently that have said they target the side for their kicker on 4th down. Because, like, it baffled me for years, like, why teams don't do it. Because I'm going to give someone away now, but we can't kick from the left hash ever. Like, it just doesn't work for us. So middle to right is where we want to be. And if you guys are putting that into it with just taking time out and realizing what you need to do, is just, it shows why you're champions realistically, doesn't it? You're putting everything into the details.
Past 2 years, Aaron Bocott has just absolutely turned into just a freak. I'd be very interested. I'm sure Aaron will hear, or if he's not watching this already, I'm very interested to see what his PATs are and what his field goals are on the year, because I can't remember him.
41 or 43, I think it was.
Right, I'd be interested to see if he missed any of those, or if there's a snap and hold situation. But Aaron. A few years back, I did not have that level of faith in Aaron, and I would constantly be calling on 4th down. Let us go for it. But as Aaron has progressed, and I suppose as I've matured as a quarterback as well, this is only my 5th year playing quarterback. I've come into the kind of mentality of, like, look, whatever we do to get points on the board, as long as situationally it works out, then we trust Aaron with that. And
end every drive with a kick.
Yeah, exactly. I said that a lot in that game.
Yeah.
But I was talking about the running backs. Yeah, basically we'll get to it, Homer. Don't worry. We just had our full stable of backs, and in the semi-final against Bristol, Joe Nicholson, our GB running back, on the 1st or 2nd drive broke his bone in his hand. So he tried to play through it, but ended up.
What's the matter with him?
Not loose. I think maybe two times. Fortunately, I think he was down on them, or ruled down on them. But so that meant that Joe was shout out Twiggy, best GM in the league.
I love bringing comments up for people who don't do the show often, because you can see them. Shit, really? I'm talking. It's all right. It's just some people have got skills. You can throw footballs. We can do this. It's fine. Yeah.
To be fair, I can't throw a football or do this. I'm just winging it, if I'm honest.
Joe broke his hand. I think in that same game, Ryan Newton broke his ribs, and they were essentially kind of running backs. I don't want to put a number on it, but running backs 1 and running backs A, like. Yeah. Knowing that Tom Jones was coming back from his first game, and really he had to step up, and obviously with the help of John Pangego and Axel Flampin, he was managed to do that, and then it was all as soon as Tom had played that game. I guess maybe he either felt confident or he had no choice. But he came in and obviously you saw what he managed to do in that final against, honestly, what is a freakish box for the Warriors.
A good question coming for you, Sam. Sam, were you expecting the Warriors to come out strong in the second half? They normally do. I was surprised they didn't. There was another comment as well, which kind of links to this, and a final one I'll add just before you answer. I thought the 21-0, the incompletion in the end zone and the turnover and the Warriors score, thinking, have the Titans blown it? Oh, no, it was a blip. It did have that feel, and being a Titans player for as long as I have, and I've seen these kind of situations, Tamworth earlier in the season, 21-0 up, obviously they score on pretty much like blown coverage, and the only one bad play defense made all day. Like, going into the half, they get the ball back. You know, they could have then gone out, scored 21-14, turnover, 21-all within 3 or 4 plays. It could have been. And everyone probably, like I said, Russell there. Was you expecting that?
I think, honestly, at no point was I relaxing. I know the exact moment, and keen-eyed, eagle-eyed people can go and watch the stream and find this exact moment on the stream if they'd like to. But at no point was I relaxed. The only time that I thought we've got this game now is we threw a deep shot to Max Graciensko on the left-hand side, on our sideline side, in the 4th quarter, and it was incomplete. I threw it about 3 or 4 yards in front of him. Max then came off, and we put Ben Martin in as the outside receiver, who Ben Martin is about maybe 5'5" or 6". Sorry, Ben, if you're taller than that. But he is an absolute speed freak. And the corner came down and indicated to the safety that he wanted to play press on Ben. So we basically saw that and thought, okay, well, we know what we're going to do here then, because he wants to press our fastest receiver. So we decided to do the exact same play again. And I did lead Ben inside ever so slightly, but he made a great adjustment, managed to catch that ball, hold on. And just as the camera pans and you can see it, I shout Ben, I say, Ben. He looks at me and I just said that's a championship catch. That was the only moment in that game that I thought we can relax here. You know, not relax. That's the wrong way of wording it. But that was the moment where I thought, as long as we just don't do anything absolutely insane, we're good. Obviously, momentum shifts, and it's a big thing. And Warriors got that blown coverage. But absolutely nobody I spoke to, and not the feelings that I had either, didn't suggest to me that anybody had lost any confidence or faith. As you said, it was just a blown coverage. I think the apex defender maybe got confused or widened to a certain receiver's move, and then we just had the guy over the top, and then the defenders just didn't manage to secure that tackle. But I wasn't nervous. I was just thinking, we need to make sure that when we get this ball back in the second half, you know, on that second drive, we need to make sure that we put some points on the board.
Yeah, it's good.
I'll tell you what I will say. My favourite play of the day, okay, and I'm sorry it's not a throw. I apologise already. But my favourite play was the draw play. Oh my days. I was on the phone and watching it with some of the guys, right? And I went, I'd love to see a draw play. I swear to God, right? I actually said, I'd love to see a draw play soon. And like 2 plays later, he just ran this draw play, and the defenders come flying past, and this running back's just gone. And I was like, that's disgusting. I was just sitting there going, it's disgusting.
Some inside info. Talk about keeping a play secret as well, by the way. Not intentionally, but that was one of the first plays we installed kind of this year. The draw play, knowing that obviously the likes of Warriors and Sam get a good rush on with us, and we just didn't really use it.
The Warriors are fantastic at dropping into their zones at speed. As soon as they're really good at reading your offensive line, so which is why running is a lot harder than passing. So you get to the point where they'll read your guards, see that your guards are dropping back. Now, we run plenty of RPOs, of course, so that muddies things up for them. But the second they recognize that it's a pass, they will drop almost vertically into their zones, which makes those passing lanes really difficult, which is, you know, why I almost had those 2 interceptions. Fortunately, the Warriors defenders didn't catch them. I got away with a couple there. But they dropped so fast that we recognized basically early on that after a couple of drives, what we're going to do is we're going to put in our draw play. They'll drop out so fast and we'll be able to get at least 6-7 yards a pop. Fortunately, when you've got an O-line like ours, which I will get onto, and I have something to say, when you have an O-line like ours and you've got people like Tom Jones in the backfield who honestly can cut on a dime, and his ability and his patience to read a hole, it's fantastic. What a play. Yeah, I loved it.
Honestly, it was I loved it. I've watched it 3 times, actually. I'm not going to lie. Like, it is amazing. Like, it's the way that you sell it, because you're looking at a receiver on your right-hand side, and you've come back like this, and you can see that the backer's wanting to shift already, and then the ball comes out, and oh, my God, it's beautiful.
I think the commentators mentioned it a few times that we obviously run these pump and go plays from time to time, and they are really tough to defend, because what we do is we pepper the underneath. If they play off, that's what we'll do anyway. We'll pepper those underneath, those screens and those hitches and things like that. And then eventually those defenders are going to come down, and as soon as they see our receiver put on a little move to suggest, they're going to run the screen, they're going to run the hitch, and they'll look out of their peripheral vision and see just a little shoulder movement like that. It's really tough as a defender to know what is the right thing to do, and so I feel somewhat sympathetic for defenders against our freakish receivers and trying to decipher what route it is that they're going to run, because everything is getting ready. Everything is set up plays. If we're running certain pass plays, we're setting up for the draw. If we're running screens, we're setting up for the pump and go plays and things like that. So my favourite play of the day is also a play that has nothing to do with me.
We're there. I'm just going to interrupt you 2 seconds.
Have you got me?
You don't need to screen record. If you want a copy, we're more than happy to download and share to anyone that asks. Right?
But you have to ask.
You do have to ask.
Otherwise, it's copyright infringement.
Yeah.
You can be sued a lot of money for that. Just
20 grand minimum, apparently.
Yeah, I think so. Right. Yeah. Sorry, Sam. Go on.
Sorry, my internet must be awful. But my favourite play of the day is a play that didn't involve me really either. It was a jet inside zone to Tom Jones, and it was his long touchdown run. If you go back and watch the line blocking on that play, it is unbelievable. I don't know if you could draw it up any better. I think the only thing that happens is one of the linebackers shoots really fast, and that's it. But fortunately, because Tom Jones is Tom Jones, he just puts his foot in the ground. Even the small things he does, he's going through that gap, and you can see him bring the ball up high and tight inside here, away from the swatting defender. It was just awesome. Loved that play.
Yeah, I like it. To be fair, I really like your counter players as well. The blocking on them is ridiculous. By the way, have you needed to wash your jersey, by the way? Or is it just still clean?
What's that, sorry?
Have you needed to even wash your jersey from the game, or is it still clean?
Did you say have I washed my jersey?
Yeah, or is it just still clean because the O-line protected you so well?
I sweat a lot, as you can tell. So it's not clean, but there is no marks on it, apart from when I like to get involved in blocking, which the head coach tells me off for, but I love it.
So just so when everyone says, obviously, Tom Jones is a fantastic running back, he's also running through those holes. Yeah. So I reckon me times 6 could fit in there. So just that way, it's just a picture I just happened to find.
You just pulled that up out of nowhere. And now you're sharing the screen of the screen of the
multiple screens. Inception.
I'm going to move somewhere so my internet gets a little bit better.
He thinks it's the internet, but it's just my accent, really.
Yeah.
This is where he pulls up next to the Natty Trophy, isn't it?
Oh, well, we've tried to fight Homer for it, but it's apparently head coach rules and all that.
Oh, I can imagine.
Whilst he's there, obviously we've got loads of comments.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is. Oh. RIP number 2.
Oh dear.
That DB went into press against Ben after Max that fade. He didn't deserve it. Leave number 2 alone. Poor man. It's okay to not be on that. Okay, honestly, you can talk. It's fine. We can be confident now. Just loads of comments coming in. Obviously, Will here. I'm going to go just some non-Titans ones. Great team effort, great Northern representation. Some major plays from Jack Watson. Don't retire Jack. Yeah, I think if his body would hold up, I think he probably wouldn't retire. Tom Jones, number 1 Britball fantasy draft pick. Bit weird. He says number 1 after saying Mustafa literally saying Sam Bluefield. I picked him on my fantasy this week.
Maybe he didn't have the number 1 draft pick.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, why you've slid in that draft is beyond me.
Yeah.
Maybe he got 2. Do you know what I mean?
Our coaches play fantasy football with our players, don't they?
Yeah, we do.
But they're not allowed to pick me. They don't pick quarterbacks.
We can pick the backup quarterback.
Who's that?
Depends who it is at the time.
We have one or...
insert generic backup quarterback / receiver.
Yeah. We could talk about the defense if you want. I feel like we won't do MTV Cribs. Oh, please do not get him on. My God,
he's had his airtime. Yeah. We wanted to keep it classy, so that's why we didn't invite one.
In terms of the defense, we've known all year that we've got an absolute freakish defense. You know, take your pick of the unit. The D line with KD Makin,
what a player!
Joe Partington. Interior guys like Charlie, like Leon, the Vanilla Gorilla, like
Vanilla Gorilla.
Yeah, that's Connor Hewitt. He's the Vanilla Gorilla.
I love
it. They just play lights out. Jack, I think the commentators mentioned how good Jack was in that first, to start that game. Let's not forget that the Warriors were missing their starting quarterback, and that obviously hurts. Like it would hurt any team.
It does, trust us.
Nick Jackett's not a chump. Like, he's won a national title himself as the quarterback. And I realize that he's not played quarterback in X amount of years or whatever it is, but he's not a chump. Like, you saw that he can make the throws and he's a fantastic runner. But we've got people like Jack Watson who are coming through that line and tackling ex-NFL running backs in the backfield. Like, and then if that box isn't good enough for you in the secondary, we've got Sam Fossey, we've got Alex Eager, Ricky. Like, it's just the defense is absolutely stacked, and I hate to give him credit, but Homer, the amount of work that Homer does for the defense in terms of his scout work, in terms of all of the documents that he puts together for each individual opponent, all of their plays, all of their tendencies, the percentages that they run certain plays from certain formations, all that kind of stuff is all available to the players. And it just made such a huge difference. Just the defense to hold the Warriors to 7 points is, to me, over the past decade of dominance, just unfathomable. If you'd have told me that the Warriors would have scored 7 points on somebody this year, at any point in the year, I'd have told you that you're having me on. Just, you wouldn't ever think of it. 7 points, it's obscene. And it was on a broken play. Imagine if they didn't get that. Maybe they score in a different way, but unheard of.
I was like I said, when I was watching the game, I was on the phone. There was a few on a call, and we're talking about Fossey, and I think he made two. There was two players not too far apart with each other where he jumped a little early, and they were like, "Oh, he's jumped early again." I was like, "Do you know how close that is? Like, he has timed that. Like, I think I was like, honestly, I don't think he's jumped early. I think the snaps come late."
Yeah.
Like, that's how close it was. And I was like, do you know how many times he's got there on time perfectly? I was like, that's like an art in itself. I was like, that's fucking legit. Like, I rate Fossey. I wouldn't tell him to his face. I would tell him his shit to his face. But I love Fossey. Like, he played really well, actually.
He's Yeah, he came in and he was immediately a fantastic leader, and the talent is undeniable. He's got a
cheats on Madden.
Oh my god, fantastic football brain. And he's been saying it all year. He's saying we will win this national championship. I'm a bit more of a reserve person. I will say, I won't really say that we're going to do something until we've done it, and then even after that, I'm kind of try to be as gracious as possible in either victory or defeat. Whereas Fossey is kind of the guy who's like, Fossey will back himself and he'll back his boys till the end of time. And when we lost against Tamworth mid-season, we lick our wounds, we get back to it, and he says, right, here's what we need to do to the defense, and here's, so yeah, I got a lot of love for Fossey, and very, very happy that he came in.
Joe, sorry. I would, Joe. I really would. Honestly, I really would.
Dropped a pick six.
He did drop a pick six, Eager. I'll say something about that man as well. Alex Eager.
Oh, we were talking about this guy last night.
Right. I'm somewhat, heavily involved in recruiting for the Titans. I like to message people and say, we'd like to come and play. I've done that a couple of times. Alex Eager's a guy who I chased for about 3 or 4 years. And I don't know if there has been a bigger, a more important pickup for our team than Alex Eager. That doesn't mean that guys like Jack Watson and guys like Chris Winrow aren't like enormous pickups. They are. But for years at Titans, I felt like we missed a really rangy safety, a safety who could go from point A to point B in a flash and really just be a ball hawk. And Alex Eager is that. But not only that, I hope no one on the defense finds this offensive, but I think he's the most reliable tackler that we've got as well. Like, the guy's a freak, and I hope that he applies for a GB trial and that they see what we've seen all year, because he played GB receiver. He played at GB as a receiver for a few years, and he was a good return man, and he's a reliable receiver. He might be a better DB. He might be. Oh,
literally. As long as I've played, there's not a better run support safety that I've ever seen. There's guys who make bigger hits. So Fossey, Muss when he was fit and healthy. There's guys who I've played with who are probably better at tracking the ball. But as a run support, legit run support, there is nobody better. Like, he just makes so many 6 to 7 yard tackles. So
we were saying this on the phone.
Yeah, because nobody understands. Like, no one's gonna go like, "Oh, that's a cracking 6 to 7 yard tackle for a game." Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so underappreciated. Where those tackles against Warriors previously are gone for touchdowns. So that it's one of the most unique skills. I think me and you spoke about in the off season, Sam. It's one of the clear identifiers we needed to find that free safety in it who can just make those plays. And I know the great teams have it, and now the Titans have got theirs.
Yeah. So humble with it too.
Titans came to London on areas of the game and kicked the Warriors' arse everywhere. Our biggest friend talk about the nicest guy in Britball, Big John. What a guy he is.
Love Big John.
Still need to DM you about the tickets, John.
Yeah, hook us up, John. But do you think now then that the finals next year will be in Manchester? That's what normally happens, isn't it?
He is, Pete. You're right. Someone said to me, or I read it, that I think that they'd planned to have the finals somewhere else this year. Yeah. And something happened, and it couldn't happen, and they had to back out, and that this was the only place available that they had left. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I
never said it was, Steve. Just the champions getting home field advantage all the time. Maybe, this time we can sort it out.
I'm not going to put myself in a situation where Baffer email me, but
yeah, don't do that.
The facilities that my girlfriend just gasps because she was there. The facilities were not.
Wait! I tell you what. You just say you start talking, then we'll mute you. And then we'll do this. So you can say the facilities were absolutely
disgusting.
Yeah, so that Sam didn't say that. Just for anyone out there watching, any snakes.
We didn't have proper changing rooms. We had a dance studio to get ready in, and
I mean, my favourite part:
3 cubicles
parking
to shower in for a team of 80.
It was cozy.
It was cozy.
Suited us, but yeah, the £30 parking was good. So if you had to park there,
Johnny got a ticket because his parking ran out during the game.
Yeah. So
unbelievable.
Yeah. So if you didn't pay the £30 for 24 hours parking, then you had to obviously try the 5 hours. And
why don't you park at Big John's gaff? He said people could park there.
I know, yeah. The seats were horrendous. I saw them and I thought I literally
had like horse spit cut out, didn't
I saw them and got piles.
It's rough. It's quite rough, the seating situation, because my mum's disabled, and so she needs back support. You know, disabled access to the stadium, I think, was okay, but not fantastic.
Yeah.
But then actually getting onto the seat, getting up to the seats, and then sitting on the seats, I've not spoken to her about it. She didn't complain or anything, but it must have been pretty hellish for her trying to, watch the game with no back support at all.
Yeah, apparently, my missus obviously brought the baby to the pram. She had to sit in the stands and leave the pram down. There's just no way of literally lugging it up. Fortunately, Miles was asleep, but yeah. It wasn't the best facility. I think, to be fair, I did speak to Pete before the game. He recognised it was not the most ideal of facilities. From my understanding, they are looking to do it a bit more central next year as well.
To be fair,
they're going to sign a 3-year contract, so they'll be at the same place and try and build something there, I think.
But if I'm honest, though, you're lucky that it wasn't Liverpool. You would have come back and the pram would have been on bricks.
And scheduling it at the same time as a Tottenham game wasn't the best for hotels and just generally getting into it. I think they kind of held their hands up. They did the best with what they did, and at least they held the 4 games there. And
I tell you what, I like the pyro.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That wasn't it? Yeah.
I like that.
I think the whole production. Mm-hmm. I think the whole production was really good.
It was the best I've seen it from that perspective.
Yeah, and the people who were kind of people like Joe Walker, who were kind of helping the individual teams and stuff like that were
they definitely made the best out of the situation, didn't they? Realistically, for what it was, they made the best out of it. So you can't complain in that sense.
Yeah.
John lives near there. There were too many lower leg injuries due to 4G pitches. This needs to be addressed.
It's a strange surface. It was very, very soft.
Was soft.
Lovely
if you had tight,
which is lovely to land on. Not that I landed on it, but it's lovely to land on. But it does mean that your studs can get a little bit too deep or caught easier on a softer pitch.
Listen, we've done the 2G pitches. I'm not going any further just yet. Right?
No, I've got my elbows and knees are done from your old Gateshead pitch.
Oh, mate, shocking that. I've got scars on my elbows still from it.
I know there's still Natty Champ still got ready in Dad's studios. It was. I tell you what though, it was actually pretty good because a lot of the guys were stretching out beforehand. They had mats, med balls. I flipped one of the tires and was sat in it like I was on a.
It's the picture of you on that pole, Mike, that disgusted me, by the way. I couldn't believe it.
I only sent that to you. And that's not a man with a lot of weight behind him. I couldn't have sat on those seats, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Disability Access was as good as the Warriors' performance. Well, I mean, Big John, hero is our John. In the ULEZ, knowing people needed to travel. What does that mean? Low emission zone.
Low emission zone. So
people might get tickets.
Are there fees for parking and for driving your vehicle in places like that?
Yeah, if you've got a dusty old wagon or something, I think so. I think you get a bit of a telling off.
I'm going to mention the offensive line before because I can only imagine that either my phone's blowing up or the comments are blowing up already. Basically, for our game plan, it came down to the offensive line as a whole, but really specifically the 3 interior offensive linemen were an enormous part of our game plan, and our success was going to be based on their success. And I have, my name's the one that everybody's saying on the live stream and stuff like that, and everybody's giving me that recognition. And it's lovely to go and pick up that MVP award and that. And obviously, it's really tough to congratulate or to pick one offensive lineman out of that group because, they're just doing that selfless job. And I messaged Johnny Morehouse earlier and I just said, like, how appreciative I am of you guys, the offensive linemen, bleeding for me, getting thrown to the ground and having to take these rough hits and deliver these rough hits themselves to keep me clean so that my name can be the one that everybody's screaming. And I hope, and Googie, you don't need to confirm or deny this, but I hope that they feel appreciated by me throughout the whole season. I'm always their biggest cheerleader. I think when we get a running back who makes a big break or we get a screen and our receivers coming up behind our offensive line, I tend to shout and support the offensive line before I shout about the receiver or the running back who's made the big play. And I made a conscious decision 5 years ago when I started playing quarterback to make sure that I always let the offensive line know that they're, doing a fantastic job. And for the past 5 years, I have really been so lucky to have such fantastic offensive linemen. I was sacked 10 times this year. That's it. Not a single,
Not like he's counting.
Well, I had to count my stats. I had to count stats for my sponsor, State Signed. Sorry, EP. Yeah. So to come away from the whole season really barely being touched, apart from when I do things that are my own fault. Half of those sacks are probably my own fault.
That's a fair point.
To come away from a season where we win a championship and got a completely clean jersey after a national final against the Warriors' freakish athletes in the box and things like that is, just the O-line are the ones who, I'll speak to you soon, Joe. The O-line are the ones who really deserve so much credit for that. And I hope that they do feel appreciated because they were the key to us winning that game. The Warriors could have potentially absolutely dominated our offensive line. I wouldn't have had all that time to sit in that pocket. I think the commentators even made a... Yeah, Joe, I'll get a sponsor for that. I think that the commentators even made a comment about how I was just literally stood in the pocket at one point and was just able to fire a ball into Ben Martin for that third quarter touchdown. There was no risk.
Their egos are big enough, Sam. You don't need to give them. They're all knobheads anyway. Don't worry, I can say that. don't worry about it.
Absolutely are some of the most despicable people I've ever met.
It was the funniest thing. So we was all sat there at one point, and this is the obviously unclassy side to us. And I was literally looking around at all of them when you lot are a bunch of disgraces, but you're the best the country has to offer. What a joke. And they're all like, yeah, you're right. Horrible. Then we went to the shower together.
These all fit in, the three of them.
Oh, yeah.
We tried.
We definitely tried. Warm water in those showers. Titans inside linebackers 50 and 54 were running riot in the A and B gaps. I think 54 kept getting the shout, but I don't think it was him. It was
it was. So the three guys who kept getting big shout outs on the defense inside the box were Jack Watson, 55. So that's who I think he's referring to as 50. I think it's 55 he means. Because 50, I think, is someone who I don't think
50 is Rio, I think.
Oh, is it? Well,
yeah.
Rio's, an awesome player as well. But I think it was just in terms of who was getting the shout outs. Jack got loads of shout outs. He was balling out so much. I'm not interested in retiring at all. I don't care if his body's broken. I'd rather him come and try and run it back than retire. Joe Partington was playing. He's absolutely right. He tells me all the time. Joe Partington was playing defensive end I don't know why he's listed as a linebacker, but he's a defensive end, and he's 54. And Joe is a freak of nature. Like he's got the strength of someone who's significantly bigger than he is, and he's got the speed of someone who's significantly slimmer and skinnier than he is. He's not like chunky or anything. He just is very, very well built. And what was the other number? Oh, our fan favorite, Cady Makin.
Cady Makin, 94. Yeah.
Just for the record, anyone listening, his name's Cade Makin.
Yeah.
But we love calling him Cady Makin, just like the comments.
Called Cady all the time.
You know what? You have said Cady 3 times. I was like, I've been saying it fucking wrong.
No. Everyone else is wrong. This is a very true start as well. Mad thing about the Titans is the backup line is just as good as the starting. That's so true. That's why they're all starters.
We had in the COVID year last year, we had a formation called Smelly Pig.
This is true.
And
you see that against Northumbria?
Yeah, we ran it against Northumberland. It's 9 offensive.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you for saying it right. He's a prick. He does that all the time and says it wrong, and it gets on my tits.
Oh, I tried to recruit too many of their players to know that not get their name wrong. Right. We ran a formation called Smelly Pig, which is 9 offensive linemen, me at quarterback, and a running back. And I think every time we run it, we did what we set out to do. If it was goal line, we ended up scoring. If it was short yardage situation, we ended up scoring. It's disgusting.
Running for a full drive once.
It's getting the most despicable people on the field at the same time and saying, go and have fun together and abuse people. And they're allowed to do that. And I'm expecting that email from Baffer about it.
Nah, you're not. You'll be fine. Freedom of speech, it's fine. You're laughing.
I think, to be fair, the only person you've not mentioned is the photographer, the random person who stood on the sideline.
The other person I need to mention is my coach at home, is my girlfriend Amy, who when I come.
No, you're not got time for that on the show. You're speaking to the wrong crowd here, mate. Just talk.
When I get home, she gives me really key coaching points. She says, "Throw it to your team, and don't throw it to their team."
Great point.
So,
that works.
Yeah, my missus says the same thing: eat less, move more, or something like that.
Mine just
really simple life advice.
That's weird because your missus seemed to provide us with about 20 desperados at that wedding the other week.
Yeah, and she got all the bloody thank yous for it. Who do you think bloody bought them? She was like going around with my card going, does anybody want a drink? Does anybody want a drink?
Listen, girl ever. She brought us ice lollies when we were melting at that game.
Yeah, she's a good egg, to say the least. But anyway, let's leave. She gets enough praise at home. Don't worry about that. Yeah. Right, I think because we've got other games to cover, Sam. We're gonna let you go. As John just mentioned there, the best play of the weekend was the EKP fake punt pass. Was pure magic. It actually was.
It was a fake field goal.
Yeah, fake field goal. Yeah. But thank you very much for joining us, Sam. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm sure our views will drop by half as all the Titans now leave us. But there is 77 views. How ironic at this moment in time.
Nice.
76 now.
Right, Sam. Thanks very much for joining us, and good luck next year running it back.
No worries, guys. See you later. Thank you.
See you, man.
Watch
Thanks
out
for coming on.
if you feel like you're a decent enough player, I'm sure you'll see Sam Bloomfield in your inbox very soon.
No, if you're a good player, you'll get the message. If you're not, then you'll realise that you're not soon when you don't get it.
Oh, it's been attacked by a dragonfly.
You're all right, mate.
A dragonfly just stopped. Sorry, my cat's on it now.
Not yet. Not yet, mate. Honestly, it's close to home, that, honestly.
Mine's moving up to Wigan soon anyway, so he's all right. Don't worry about that.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, he's coming up.
Is that why he's watching? So he's moving up, so that's why he's starting to watch it. See, if he was still down there, he wouldn't watch.
He wouldn't watch it. No, he's moving up to Wigan. He says he's not, but he is moving up to Wigan. There's a thing called kidnappers. I don't know.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
Manchester took over the stand. Anybody would think it was Old Trafford.
No, you
That's
wouldn't.
funny on a couple of levels. Because...
I'm sorry, right? Because if it was Old Trafford, there'd be no people from Manchester there.
Yeah, that's true.
It'd be all Londoners.
Can't wait for Sam to praise the old line again over and over again till I die. You can just literally watch this a bit back That's the best thing. It'll stay on. This one will stay on. You can just keep watching it.
So some of them have to get removed, you see.
We'll treat him to a Wigan kebab. Yeah, he better love pies.
Yes.
Are you covering the final goods? That's what we're going to move on to now. So thanks everyone for obviously tuning in for the Titans part of the podcast. It was a pleasure having you with us. Feel free to leave us now if you want, because
no, you don't have to.
The Titans part's gone. No, I'm joking. You can stay with. We're going to cover the other games now. Did you? I didn't catch much of any of them. I
watched all of them.
Well, you're going to take the lead on this, and I'll just chip in as usual.
Oh, great! Get in, love it.
So, obviously, your speciality, the under-19s, kind of went the way we all thought it would go. I felt without Gateshead being there, no disrespect to Tamworth. From my opinion, it's going to be with Gateshead not having the guys who've been to America and missing the guys and not making the final. It should have been the Gateshead versus Blitz game. Obviously, Tamworth did well.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not saying that.
I'm saying that. They did well. They beat the team they played. But for me, there's an asterisk next to that game. You can only beat the team in front of you. You had 11 starters missing.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not. Come on. I'm not taking anything away against them. Like, I'm not that guy.
I'm just saying the game would have been more competitive had you had your starters and been there. That's all. It weren't as competitive as the game, was it?
Now I'm going to look like a dick, though, now.
No, that's the only thing I know about under-19s is that throughout the season, obviously, I'm very close to Gateshead because of you, but I understand you had the generational talent of a QB missing. Like,
yeah, to be fair, we didn't have any QBs available that game, but they still came beat one. We managed to take them at double overtime, but they beat us still. Triple overtime, sorry.
So the Blitz. I've seen some of the guys afterwards. They seemed in good spirits. Probably in better spirits when obviously seeing us beat the Warriors.
To be fair, it was the Blitz are a very good team. Like if you let their guys run outside, they'll run all day. Type of team.
Is that the third in a row now?
Yeah. Ran outside. The QB making plays with his feet, making plays with his arm, and it was one of the ones where Tamworth just couldn't keep up in the end. And it was they shut down the Tamworth passing attack, and which I was a bit shocked at. I thought Tamworth would have done a bit more. It was one of those where, like, I didn't expect the score to be so big, but I did expect the Blitz to win by maybe 2 scores or something. So it was a good result. The Blitz had players all across the board. I would have liked to have seen one of the so Tamworth have got a couple of their best players missing as well. And I'd like to think we were very physical with them. So I'd like to think there would have been a few of them carrying a few knocks, maybe. Yeah. So I think that could have affected them. But I would have liked to have seen Ollie's brother playing receiver. He's a good player. Tamworth's got some good players, but Blitz were just too good on the day.
London Blitz were very well drilled and tight until look forward to seeing these in the senior league when they reach that age. That I agree, but it doesn't mean they'll always transgress into the Blitz team. We've seen, because obviously this team's been very, very good for a long time now, these youth teams, and actually more often we find them going to the NFL academy and going on to NFL.
I don't want to see kids progress into adult teams.
No,
that's a failure.
They're not doing it. No, but I'd say, in fairness to the Blitz, they've probably got as many kids out there.
100%. Of course they have.
I've seen our friend James Famine, who's now starting for Utah.
Yeah. And then
Blitz.
Tyler Harvey Fallows started for Troy the other day.
Yeah, so
from we Charlie Bucks, Bristol, and NFL Academy.
Yeah, so there's obviously the Blitz guys and guys out there getting really, really, really the recognition that they deserve. Sorry, everyone, big yawn there. If anyone doesn't know, I've got a baby. I wake up a lot.
It's the Blitz will definitely have players over there. I know they do for a fact because I think it might be Kent actually. Kent have got the cornerback in the same team. Hussein's at. But the Blitz are a good side. Good. Not as physical as I thought they were going to be. The linebackers were. But apart from that, they weren't as physical as I thought they would be. But good outfit. But I don't want to see kids playing adult football. I want to see them moving on to better things. There's better things to offer than adult football. I'm sorry,
but they're not all going to make it there. So it's
no,
good to
no,
see
of course
that even
not.
some of them, because
Listen,
isn't.
I mean this the nicest possible way, right? Even if you get 1% of them going elsewhere,
Yeah,
that's great. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
That's where the
exactly.
target is.
That's probably all that it's going to be, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, so fair play. They've got guys going over there, and they seem to be a really good, well set up program that people seem to be.
I think realistically, if you set up a junior team, you should aim to get maybe 2% to go abroad to play.
Yeah.
You'll have maybe it's probably national average of about 35% drop off between junior and adult.
Yeah.
Well, from 16 to adult actually, but if you can keep that to about 10% and the rest play uni and adult football, that's a good program.
Like you said, we still need to do that bottom up approach, but
yeah, we do.
But Blitz under 19 is certainly the gold standard.
Oh yeah, definitely
gold standard in terms of. I think even Homer mentioned that in his pre-game interview, post-game interview, where he was like, kind of like, it's not a coincidence why we're here, because we just copy very, very good programs, and Blitz under 19s are that program at that level, really, aren't they? So, Highland Stags.
That's all we've done at Gateshead is copy other programs. We copied the Titans for the way that they do their youth program. We copy East Kilbride for how they do their youth and junior program. Copy Blitz for how they do the performance side of things. That's you got to pinch bits of other people. By the way, coaches message me all the time asking for ideas and things. I just tell them pinch everyone else's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Honestly, pinch everyone else's.
We don't call it pinching. We call it magpieing.
Pinching. Best thing. James, I had an issue with the QB list that'll be out very soon. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Hussein's number one. There you go. It's a short list after that.
Yeah, he's not even playing QB at the minute, mate.
Oh my God, Thomas Jones is watching. What a hunk. Quick question from John. John will always answer your questions. So those tickets up. Buffalo Bills or LA Rams? Who is your winner in the new season game? I'm gonna go. See, it's a tricky one for me.
Bills.
I'm way more into the NFL than most people. So
Bills.
I like the Bills because they're stat this year.
The QB, I love the QB.
Yeah, the QB, the return guys. But from the last couple of like Super Bowl winners, you've seen a trend where they start out really fast, like super fast, like probably before 5-0. So for that reason, I fancy the Rams.
No, Bills.
I could be wrong, but yeah.
But you're either going to be right or you're going to be wrong. No,
that's true. I do that all the time.
I could be wrong. No shit.
No, like I fancy the Rams in that one, but I think the Bills will go to the Super Bowl. Do you know what I mean?
I like
the Bills are legit a fantastic team this year. But
I really like the Bills this year.
Yeah.
Reminds me I need to set me fantasy up, actually.
Yeah. We should do a Britballin fantasy.
No, we shouldn't.
No.
We'll do a pick'em.
We'll do a pick'em. Oh,
that's a good show.
Sorry. Did you manage to catch the Highland Stags versus Bristol Apache game?
I did.
I didn't watch any of this, but I listened to it on the way home. I was driving home, so I listened to the stream.
See, I watched it, right, and I actually really enjoyed the game. For being quite like a quiet scoring game, we'll say, I actually really enjoyed it. Highland are a lot more physical than what I thought they would be, by the way. I didn't think they'd be able to stop the Bristol run game.
No.
I will say, though, Bristol shot themselves in the foot a hell of a lot of times with stupid penalties.
Yeah, and the QB, like I said, I was just listening. I didn't see any of the throws, but literally, I think they kept repeating. He was like 0-12 throwing the ball. Like he run it a lot, but yeah, he was like just couldn't move the ball through the air at all.
He couldn't throw the ball at all. But he didn't need to in the end.
My guy Aaron.
Yeah.
A Div 2 Southern reporter got himself a natty championship. Well done, Aaron. I like that the Div 2 game's now on the same weekend as well, because it's not always been, has it?
No, it hasn't always been, and it was never like a national thing.
No, so I like that they've now done that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shit enough. Highland will still be on the fucking way home now.
Apparently though, London was better for them because they could fly.
Did they fly though?
I think a lot of them flew because it was just like so much.
I thought a lot of them got the bus as well, by the way.
I'm not sure. It's just, that's one of the things I got told pre my game when I was talking about the state of football being there.
crazy. No, but I think realistically, when will Baffa and no, not saying
Separate
that
organisations.
Yeah, two separate organisations. Decide to make finals mid-distance and equal to everyone. It's really hard because you'd have to wait until the final was made to then make it in the middle.
No, but I think you can just take a bit of common sense with it, can't you?
Like you would just go Leicester Loughborough area, really, wouldn't you? That's middle of the country.
I think Loughborough will be the spot. Whilst we're talking about that now, Sam's up. I think it's going to be Loughborough. You've got NFL Academy there, great setup. You've got the pitch, I think that'll be the spot. I think you're going to go Loughborough, Coventry. Apparently, have got a good setup.
Yeah, I don't read our Southern correspondent. I can't read your comment at the minute.
Yeah, and the
can we show it?
Is Nottingham? Yeah, we could show it, but we're not allowed to read it. Sorry.
Right, okay, you do that.
Everyone read it? Wait. Let's put some holding music on. This better. That's good. This good hold music.
You ready? Let's do it.
When the white hat posts a link. Oh, no, I ain't doing it.
Oh, I'm just checking. I haven't got no fucking text messages up here.
I just better check my emails. It's all right, 1 minute.
Yeah. Christ.
There we go. About half of us flew. I think some of them are still on the road coming back. Crazy.
Oh, Christ.
Crazy. No, but I think because obviously the Highland game was a little bit better because it was the early kickoff, for coming back. But I know our guys didn't get in till we put on a coach, and I think they got back. One of the guys got back in at 3:30 in the morning. The coach got back.
That's crazy. That.
Yeah, obviously, we stayed a little bit later after the game and stuff, but. Yeah.
Well, I know Highland. Some of them stayed over, but still, that's a trek, that, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I stayed.
But back to how they played. Highland's D-line's legit. I think they're going to scare a lot of teams next year.
I think they just run out of, from what I could hear, more than
run out of options
and peep bodies.
Yeah, I don't think they did. I think they ran out of level of body, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I think they've done well.
Yeah.
Props to them for doing that well. Can I just say, right? Teams are going to shit themselves going up to Highland next year.
Oh,
and you look at who's going to be in that division. It's going to be like Vikings and things going up there.
Yeah, it's just
Rams won't be in that division because they won't go that high up. So I don't know what's going to happen.
I like obviously a team like Highlands being in it, but we really are stretching the distance of the country there, aren't we?
I don't care.
It's fine with Cornwall because they kind of all play each other, don't they? In that bit, like the basketball, so it's not.
Mate, Highland deserve to have this team.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
Mate, they've got the Wildcats will just feed into that team. I'm sorry, they will.
Yeah.
And the Wildcats are legit.
Yeah. There's probably a lot of guys in that area who are good players and haven't had an outlet for a long time. So,
I like it, me. I mean, I'd fucking never travel
there. Finals should be in the middle of the country. Not always in London. They've not always been in London before, but I think they're just down there.
They've had them at John Charles and stuff before, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? I've been to finals there.
We played in Leeds, yeah. Charles, what a game he played, by the way. Yeah, what a game he played, by the way. And number 99, for anyone who was watching the stream, what a player he was. Injured all year, came back, balled out in the final. Flag bowl, just saying.
Yeah. Don't know what you mean.
Did your comment thing break? Some got trained down and flew back. Some drove the kit down. Gutted they didn't come out to the proclaimers.
It would have been amazing if they had.
Yeah, we're going to get onto that one in a minute. That'll be the last game we cover. Highlands, number 70, caused havoc for us all game. He's a legit player.
Yeah. I mean, I rate that Highland D-line.
Yeah.
Really rate them.
Yeah.
And you know what it is? I think the QB's actually decent as well. I just think he didn't have his best game. He seemed to just not step through some of his throws and got over the top of them and sailed them a few times. But put that down to nerves.
You put it down to nerves. Adrenaline can get you so far in these games, can't they? Like adrenaline can really get you through, and then you could see in the second half they just
no, it can't.
No, it can get you to a certain amount in this game, but then once that wears off, I think that's what you saw in the second half. They looked tired.
Look, we'll do this again. Too much adrenaline, your peak catastrophe theory comes down. Worst performance. Boom, there you go.
That's what I mean. But like for those guys who've travelled all that way, I get some of them flew, some of them would have drove. They've had that adrenaline rush. They got up 7-0. I think to half time they got to 7-0.
But just saying that there, people will think, fuck, actually, he's actually got a brain.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
No, they've watched you long enough to know you haven't got one. It's fine.
I have. Come on, let me have a brain.
I've got a brain. Please. Loughborough has got fantastic facilities. I think there's a lot you've got to consider when you're planning these venues. So a lot of people threw out like Nottingham, for example, but I think they've just not got like the stand, and obviously got the people who can come out to the bar, so they've not got that element. And I think another one, I think it was either a Coventry or Loughborough, you can't get like the stands around, like the food wagons and stuff around it.
Now, so, like, you know what we should do? Could I get wrong for this? No, I don't care. Right, so what we should do is the governing body should go and ask a council in a specific area that they want for an asset transfer, take it over, put some money into it, make it like the home of British American football. Run all your training sessions, like all your trainings GB and things stuff. For GB. Run all of your, your coaching badges and things. If you want a coach badge, go there. Like, do you know what I mean? It's one of them. Like, you'd be laughing.
No, yeah,
it would make money because you could then hire it out to the public to do other stuff. It would make money.
Yeah, I think they'd need money in the pot though to purchase it. Probably in the
you wouldn't. An asset transfer is free.
Oh, is it? Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. But what do we know? Nothing. So yeah, Bristol. Congratulations, obviously on the undefeated season. I'm pretty sure they had.
Yeah.
So obviously good result there for them, and obviously congratulations on your Div 2. Both teams will be playing Div 1 next year. Moving on to Div 1, you like that?
By the way, Stags, before we go on to Div 1, please change your uniform. It's the worst jersey I've ever seen.
Awful.
In a final, anyways. I've seen worse ones.
Stags on your back.
Don't know. But Stags on the front and the back.
Streak in Britballin. Oh, that might have been since the Warriors have fallen.
It will be.
Yeah. East Kilbride Pirates hammering the Cambridgeshire Cats 50-12. I'm not surprised. A couple of people in the Cats result was unusual and surprising. No, it wasn't. Like,
no,
legit.
No.
Like, we've said it all year. I know
we said it all year, and we got laughed at. We got criticised for our rankings being northern bias. We said about the north, like,
disgusting. Well, it was
tough getting Bergen in the final.
Mate, we'd said this though. Like, we explained how good that division was with East Kilbride, Northumberland Vikings, Yorkshire.
Would have put a similar score up on Cambridgeshire.
Yeah, I said I was having a conversation, right, and I said I think Northumberland, I think East Kilbride, I think Yorkshire Rams, I think Leicester Falcons, I think Chester Romans, and I think Nottingham Caesars would have all beaten
Cambridgeshire. Yeah, I agree. I'm not like, and that's no disrespect to Cambridgeshire. There's probably some great talent there, but I know they lost one of the better players in the off season, so they're not the exact same teams they were. The South just didn't stack up Div 1 wise.
No, Div 1 wise.
But it was the same. We've kind of heard that all year. Like the Prem North isn't the same. There's loads. Look at what happened. Like London just beat Warriors, just beat Tamworth. We pretty much handled Bristol, other than their American QB who won't be there again. Like realistically, like he's got 14 points on his own. Otherwise, that's a bit of a blowout, and he brings them back into it. And then we pretty much just blew out the Warriors. Like there's other teams in there. Like the North's good now. Like legit. The South has lost a lot to Europe, and I'm not saying that's because I'm not. If the South had everyone back, the South are legit. But there's too many teams feeding into those top two or three teams. and then the 2 London teams, and then the rest of it. I don't think it's as strong as the North, like in that sense.
I think Division 1, the North is stronger in the minute. In the Midlands and North, I think is stronger than the D1 South at this minute in time. I think on an average, then maybe not, but at the minute in time, there is 5 teams, I would think, that would be all of the Southern teams. And like that's not me having a dig at the teams in the South. Trust us, it's really not. I just think
it's a geographical thing. Like you've got to think for every one of those northern teams, there's 4 universities potentially feeding into it. Whereas down south, a lot of the times, it might be 1 feeding into 2 teams, or so the talent's just a little bit more split down there in the smaller catchment areas. Now that's kind of what it is, because realistically, like Div 1. It's not rookies who are making massive influences on your team. No. You're not going to pick. You might pick up the odd athlete off the street and they can hang at the end or whatever. But really, it's the guys who've played before at Uniball who win these championships for you. You know, the EKP won't have had any rookies starting in that game from this year. Really, I don't think maybe 1 or whatever. It's guys who played for years who make those differences. And I think just up north, there's a better pool of that feeding in. Like,
thing is, all right, there'll be people sat here. There'll be people sat here that haven't been around the game long that won't remember East Kilbride dominating the Prem.
Yeah.
Dominating the Prem.
Yeah, Prem North. Yeah, they were Prem North.
Like, battering everyone.
Yeah, and you think about
so physical.
I'm just thinking about it now, Uniball. You've got the North, and then even in the South, like the second team in the South is Birmingham. Who's technically could class it, who their players would play in the Prem North.
But you would think Birmingham, well, you could go Bristol as well, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you could, but then you could also just play in Birmingham or just outside Birmingham in Tamworth.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean? So that's what I mean in terms of...
No, but I mean, like, Uniball status, you've got the Bullets, and then you could go Pride, which is 2 Bristol teams.
No, but what I mean is, when you're feeding it, but that's 1 team going into 1 team. Tamworth could potentially have Nottingham guys going there. They could have Birmingham guys going there. They could have guys from Leeds going there. That's 3 really high-level teams going into 1. Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. Like Edinburgh, for example, in the 2 or 3 uni teams in Edinburgh, who are pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So they're feeding. That's what I'm trying to get at when people are like, oh, why are you saying the North's better? It's not because we're from the North. It's just because of, I think, the geographical location and the setups that they've got around them. It's just that's where it's at the moment.
I'll tell you what I will say, though. The Cats have a really legit receiver.
Yeah.
Like, that one guy that is legit. Yeah. Like, in fact, I think they would... I'm doing a bad bit of coverage here. I would say they've got 2 legit receivers.
Yeah.
And I think when their number 1 receiver went down, that was a game over.
Yeah.
They then, in my opinion, from me watching it, okay, I think it was a... I'll answer that question actually first. I think we had a mess up this season about playing the division in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
But what I will say, back to my thing, I think they had a couple of really good receivers, and when he went down, they then tried to resort to physical football. So they tried to out physical East Kilbride.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Not the finals in general were pretty disappointed if you wanted close affairs. Like 50 to 17, 50 to 12, 17 to 7.
One. Bristol one.
Yeah, that was close enough, but I felt like it was always going to be Bristol's game. They just took a while to get going. Like as soon as they got up, it was like that was it.
If you watch that though, that's not the case.
Right, okay.
It was
like I said, I was only listening to.
I think I was expecting Bristol to mess up again at some point.
Yeah.
Like at the start of the game, I was like, Bristol's going to win by 50 points, and then that wasn't the case when I was watching it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't expect Highlands D-line to be as good as what they were, but then they were.
Yeah.
Like I've played with Richard Christian down in Bristol before, like when we were Torbay and things. Like I didn't expect him to get people go past him as much as they did. Like, and to be fair, he was called for a few penalties and things as well. But it's one of them. Like I think the Bristol game was closer than it could have been. I think.
John. I think we should do a segment which is like John's honest reviews. Like John just says what everyone's thinking a lot of the time. Yeah. The injury count on the Cats was more like the body bag count. their best players wiped out. That's like when you play EKP. Like, no matter if we scrimmage against them this year, like we're the best in the north. Like, we would struggle like against EKP because they are a physical guy. Like, you don't understand. Like, when it rains, they start howling and hollering. Like, they love that shit. Like,
they don't care.
No, honestly, grumpy, angry Scottishmen, which I love. Like, it's such a good team to play against.
People are not going to realise the atmosphere that it's going to be when you go up to East Kilbride to play.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, when you go there and they've got this little tiny stand, right? Like, it's not tiny. It's like it is smallish, right?
Yeah.
Small stand, and then there's people in there with drums and commentating and banging on the drum and banging on the roof, and they're just going mental.
I'll tell you what, though, if you do go to EKP,
you're driving back down on your trip back down south. You stop off at Newcastle and say, "Build a fucking wall again." That's what you say.
They do look after you, though. Whenever you go to EKP,
Iron Brew and tea cakes.
The EKP Ultras. Well, pretty much. I think pretty much for every game, if you're the away team, you'll turn up and on your sideline, you'll have like a 48 case of Iron Brew and loads of Scottish like tea cakes. Like, that touch for me is Class. That sums up the EKP organisation for me. Yeah, I am so happy they're in the Prem. As far as travelling up to Scotland, I would happily travel up because I get to play EKP. Like, I know I'm going up there for an experience of playing one of the greatest programs in the country. The people just love football. It's like, like the Dillon Panthers. That's how I have to describe it. Like, it's a football town. They love it. These people go there. Like, it's just something, like, it's an experience. Like, and nights out in EKP. They are the best team to go out with. I've done it before when we played in Yorkshire. Like, hilarious, great, and that legacy's always passed on. Like, some of my favourite people in the sport have played or play for EKP. Like, legit, because they're just fantastic humans.
It's East Kilbride's class to go up there and play, and it's like
the atmosphere's good. You play in history. Do you know what I mean? You know, like when it's like, I suppose, a little bit like playing United now or playing Liverpool when they weren't as good. Like, even though that team wasn't as good, you're playing the history of that club, if that makes sense. So that's one of the things that I don't know if that's coming across unless you get football. I don't want to get into football too much, but you get what I mean. Do you know what I mean?
I love playing there, mate. Like, I love coaching. I say playing, I don't play anymore, but I love coaching there. Like, in fact, my last game playing was there. Yeah,
I remember you saying.
Yeah.
Like, the same 2017 Titans, the semi-final against Leicester was the better game. I think because the North and South when the North and South play each other, it's different because the North play a more physical brand of football, I think.
I don't think so.
That might be unfair to say.
So, right.
South against South, but...
This is what I'm going to say, right? So, I think the Southwest play a very physical football in the lower divisions.
Yeah.
Right? When they get higher up, it becomes more flary.
One minute. Do they play... So, the word physical to me is, do they just play a little bit more simple, run-the-ball football?
Yes.
Or do they play... So, but my physical is playing like EKP.
Have you ever watched Exeter play football before, the uni team?
No.
They will just pick you up and slam you into the ground type of football.
Right,
that's the type of football that they play. Whereas East Kilbride, when I say physical for East Kilbride, they will get two linemen pick you up, slam you into the floor, and then one of the linemen will get up and crack a linebacker as well. Like, that's, there is a difference.
Yeah.
But, like, I think Southwest football's physical. I think London-wise, in the Prem is quite physical.
I think now with the addition of Solent, Solent made that a physical division because they play a pretty the system denotes that they have to be physical, right?
Yeah,
like they play a very hard-nosed style of football. Warriors are always going to be physical, not because Warriors play physical because they're just massive humans.
Yeah.
Like, so I would say they're based on, we're a really gritty team.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So if I then say Prem North-wise, I wouldn't say yous are like a smash in the mouth sort of division. I think Wolves used to be that. I think Sheffield used to try and be that, and I don't think it's anymore. I think your O-line is that, but yous are too nice at the same time.
Yeah, I think one of the I think credit where credit should. I think us and Tamworth changed that kind of hard-nosed style of. I think Tamworth did the initial change with Pat Daly and flaring the ball out, and we just carried on that kind of air raid. And now I think people are just trying to catch up to that. So that's why I think it's changing, because 2 teams have came in that division and now dominating it. Yeah, playing that kind of air raidy kind of football.
Yeah, like a flary sort of football. But then when we go to Division 1 North, you've got the Vikings, which is very flary sort of offense again.
Yeah,
like a new school of, but their defense is very physical.
Yeah, same with EKP.
Yeah, and then East Kilbride, the way they fucking run that ball, man. They'll go flary and air the few passes out, but they'll smash you in the mouth at the same time when they're doing
Yorkshire the same.
Yorkshire smash you in the mouth like that. It's physical. It's
like very gritty football. I would describe that. North, like that's that northern grit in it. To be fair,
I think if you took one of those teams out and put them in the South Prem, I think they would do better than what they would going into the North Prem straight away.
Well, the problem is they can't get in. That's what for me. The simple solution. I think Leicester should go into the Prem South. Like that's where I'm at. Like Leicester would go into that Prem South and be the team behind Bristol and challenge the Blitz. Like they would give that. They would give Solent a good game. Probably beat Solent. Like that. That's what kind of. It's a good point there from John. Can you imagine the 80s rules today? Like it is a completely different game. Like it's ridiculous. Like I always remember one comment. So
got this one here. 2 seconds. Hardest hit of the weekend. East Kilbride linebacker. 50 on a wide receiver. I felt the fall. No, the best one was Mark Stewart. When the receiver come across the middle, he caught the ball and Mark Stewart literally lifted this. He went off. He was gone. Yeah. I think they said in the commentary he blacked out.
Wow.
Like but he didn't hit him in the head, and he like full on hit him in the chest, like perfect hit. Like wow.
So. Just to this point, so
he hit him so hard he cracked my screen.
Can you imagine? So I've got a little anecdote about this, and not many people will understand this person. It's a Yorkshire Rams old head coach called Orlando Weeks, who, by all accounts, was a legend of the game in the 80s. And it's funny. So we was meant to travel up to EKP to play, and we was debating. We only had like 20 guys, and he kind of sat us all down in the room and just turned around, and it's going to feed into this. But I don't think the game is changing more snowflakes. Orlando kind of looked to us all as head coach, and he's a really nasty bastard, really. Like you wouldn't want to see him in a dark alleyway. You know, he would do you in basically. And he kind of just went round and asked everyone what they did for a job. Like what do you do for a job? And it was kind of like, I work in engineering, I work in IT, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, whatever it may be. It was Yorkshire, so it probably weren't that. It was, I work in whatever, sheep and all that kind of stuff. But it was funny. Like I think at that point he kind of knew the people he had around him weren't like fighters. They weren't brickies. They weren't builders. They weren't, I think in America they would call it like blue collar kind of hardworking miners kind of vibe. So that the world's changed, isn't it? Like so, like the 80s rules today. But I don't think, no disrespect, I don't think the 80s had the athletes we have today, the intelligence, the technology, the scheme. I could be wrong. I didn't live in the 80s. I don't know the 80s. No. I don't think they had the smarts. We see that across everything in sports. Do you know what I mean? That's where they didn't have the technology, so it's just not going to be there.
But I just think, and this might sound weird, right? But like, do you know the likes of like Highland guys and Aberdeen and stuff like that? Like those are still doing those type. Well, Aberdeen are like all riggers and stuff. Do you know what I mean? In like Highland, they're all like flipping cows over fences and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like you know what I mean. That's my Angus, and just launch them over the top of that. You know what I mean? Like it's like that's what they're like. That's why you expect like physical football. Like. And I'm not going to lie, they will hit you in the face and find it funny. Like, do you know, like, so if I hit someone, I'd be like, whoa, that was a good hit, help them back up. And that they will help you back up and be like, oh, that was class, wasn't it? And just walk as if it was nothing. Like, you'd be dead on the floor and they don't even care. Like the Stone Cold Killers, mate. Like the
Armstrong.
Yeah, this. Like, they've got that freak farm athlete strength, man. Do you know what I mean? You've seen it on the draft every year for the NFL, haven't you? When there's like, how have you trained to get to the NFL? Have you been doing like sprints?
Every Iowa Every Iowa State player ever.
Yeah, and they're they're like, no, I've just been lifting this beer here. That's weighs like 800 kilograms. Oh, thanks very much.
Robert, shout out to whoever is the person responsible for Titans Media Promo Hour, Game Day and Team News Images. As someone who tries to put things together,
right, Titans have had enough. Well done. Right, so well done to them.
It's Alex Cooper, by the way. Big shout out to him. He does the GB stuff as well. So
yeah,
he could do anything for a fee.
Nah, I just think put it this way. How do you think the Cats will do in the Prem?
I think they'll struggle.
Yeah, so do I.
I think they'll go back down. I didn't like the Cats going into that final. It was kind of like a dream. I never saw the Cats getting there. And there's no disrespect to the Cats. Like, he wasn't the one seed, I don't think. They kind of...
So they lost 2 games in the season.
Yeah, they just... Yeah. They need to recruit. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Like, they're in a good position to recruit. Like, I know they lost a couple of players to Tamworth last year and things like that. So I think they need to recruit well.
I'll say this again. How many riggers and stuff are you finding in Cambridge, mate?
Yeah, it's a good point. I'd need to see the location.
What do you do for a living? Oh, I play the cello. Come on, do you know what I mean? It's not happening, is it? Like, they had some big boys. Like, I'm not going to lie. They've got some of that, like, daddy owns a gym sort of guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, that'll happen.
I'm just kind of having a look now, like, where they could pull from. So they've got the
unis. They've got the unis.
Cambridge got the unis. They got Peterborough near. Maybe some of the Leicester guys could go over Ipswich, Norwich, Luton. So you could get North London. But it's not really because they're going to go into London, Northampton. Maybe could get a couple of guys from Birmingham and Cov going over who live kind of in the middle. But yeah, that's if guys want to go and play in the Prem South as opposed to playing in the Prem North. That's the thing. I don't know. There's not a massive.
They've got an air base. There's an air base there apparently.
Yeah.
Well, they want to hope they get a lot of people in. If they're close to an American airbase, they want to.
Yeah, but then it'll be like Bury Saints kind of vibe, where they got that renaissance and they kind of went up and then nothing since really.
So that's how we think. We think they're basically just going to do what the O's done. I'm assuming.
I think they'll struggle. I think, and hopefully for them, the congratulations, you have been promoted and well done to all.
Mate, I'm not taking anything away from them getting promoted. Like the grafted their arse off to get there. They've got to the final. That's why they're there.
Yeah.
But I'm worried for them, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I can't see them going and beating Solent, who when they got promoted to Div 1 kind of run through Div 1.
No.
Ken the same. They've got too good of a youth program, and I think they had a bit of a down year this year, but we'll come back. I think next year. They ain't beating the London teams, and they ain't beating Bristol. I don't think Bristol will be the same team next year.
I think they'll be better
without the QB. I mean, you've got Benzie coming in.
Not just Benzie. You're going to be fine.
Bristol could be okay then.
Yeah, they will. I promise.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Some insights that looks like Bristol are going to be good. So yeah, I think because they might get a couple more QB American.
I imagine they will.
Yeah. So good luck to everyone. Congratulations to everyone who.
Hey, where's Marcus Mariota's brother going to play? That's what I want to know.
Oh, he's at CAF, isn't he?
Oh,
he won't stay over the summer, will he?
I don't know. I reckon if Sam gets in his DMs.
Yeah.
Fancy kitting up for the Titans.
Yeah. Hey, don't worry. We'll be talking to him.
I bet you will. Yeah. I'd put 100%. 50 was Mark Stewart. Yeah, you're right. That was a good thing.
They've got. I think CAF have got a good relationship with Yorkshire now, though. I think that's a formal setup. So you have to convince away from what they know. So
he's never going to play.
No, why would he? If he did.
How do you think the East Kilbride Pirates will do in the Prem?
Very good. I think they will assert themselves as the best team in Scotland again. I think because
I was going to mention that game. That game's going to be a great game.
But I know guys who now play for Edinburgh who did play for EKP and left because they wanted to play Premiership football. So I think they'll just go back.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think EKP's the team in Scotland for me. I think Scottish football, I think AKP. No disrespect to Edinburgh. Edinburgh are an aging team. It's been my problem with Edinburgh. Like their studs are getting on a bit. I didn't see them getting drastically younger when we played them last time. I might be wrong.
They will this year though, because of the Napier Knights junior team.
They need to, is what I mean. To carry on being that team in the Prem, they need to get younger. They'll be fine. I think EKP will stay up. Very early predictions. EKP will be fine. They'll beat Sheffield and Mersey, I think. I'm glad to have them in the Prem. I think there's an extra competitive game in the Prem now. They finished third this year.
How do you think going into the Div 2 games, how do you think Highland will do in Div 1? In that Vikings division, for example?
They'll struggle in that division, but they'll have the advantage of guys having to travel all the way up to them. They need to recruit. Like you need to. I've seen the pitch. I judge it based off. If you look at the pictures of the squads, like EKP fit behind 2 boards, Highland would have fit behind 1 board. Manchester, we won't fit behind 6 boards. So there's lots to be done to get up there, if that makes sense. But in terms of Highland, I think Bristol will do better than Highland will.
Do you think?
Yeah, Apache will do pretty well, I think, in Div 1. Better than Highland. I might be wrong. I'm not too high on Highland.
The reason I'm saying this, right, is because, and I know people in Bristol are going to be, it's all about Bristol, but this has happened before when Bristol have gone up.
Yeah.
Okay. In that Southwest, it's very, you've played for every team sort of situation. And you normally have guys that'll play a few games, realise they're getting battered in Division 1, and take the step across to a Division 2 team again.
Yeah, you think there might be a bit of a yo-yo?
Yeah, and I don't know whether they'll go Somerset or they might go Cornwall or Torbay, and they normally go between the 3.
The reason I can't see it, for one reason, well, 2 reasons. Bristol, as a footballing town, has too much talent that the older guys need somewhere to play. And that's why they have a second team, I am assuming. And some of their really young guys as a bridge. So some of the really young Pride guys, some of the really young UWE Bullets guys who might just be actually at the university and play for their second team, I think they've got. They're the guys who will play for the Apache, I'm assuming. Subsequently meaning they'll do well.
I think they'll get players leaving.
You're very close to that, so I'll probably back you on that more than me.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't want to see that happen again. It's happened too many times in the past.
Yeah.
Like, by the way, someone was saying they want to see, Devils will take the Cambridge Cats players down. So, I find it weird, by the way, seeing like the Apache and stuff not playing in orange. Like, I just seen the word orange and I thought that's what the chat was. I found it really weird. But yeah, because whenever I see that grey uniform, I just think Pride, and obviously I know they're affiliated sort of, but it's not. But
will the rules change to those teams who do not fulfil a season or are all getting to play massive fines? No, they're too busy chasing stupid things to focus on things like that.
You were dying to say something there.
I nearly went. I'll go soon. Don't worry, everything that we're not talking about now will be revealed at one point. We just need to keep shut for a week, but then every detail will be shared with you all. Is there many teams in the South? Is there too many teams in the South? Never understood this bail and play for team 5 minutes away attitude. It's because in Scotland there's not any teams within 5 minutes of each other, so it's hard to wrap our heads around.
But you can't say that either, because in Scotland it's happened between the Glasgow Tigers, West Coast Trojans. Like, they all went around.
It just happens. Like
things
yeah. I don't
know.
Kings
to Clyde Valley at Aberdeen, King. Like it's all happened before.
Unfortunately, yeah. It's always going to happen.
The Southwest and Scotland are notorious for it.
Yeah, it's just
the Southwest, they don't care about driving anywhere because they're all in tractors anyway. So it takes them 5 days to get anywhere. In Scotland, just
that last time
drive across people's fields.
I think the squad's a different makeup this time. I hope so.
So do I. I said the same. I hope that's the case.
Yorkshire has this issue. Well, it doesn't have this issue. You've got some really good teams. Just join them all together.
So would you?
Bath are still busy writing about the finals in the game day program. Oh, maybe not. So there was no game day programs.
I thought they'd done an online one, didn't they?
Did they?
I think so.
There's loads of teams in London. So the Hornets, Stallions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, you got Wembley Stallions, London Hornets. Yeah, and it's just not that. And that's what I said. That's what I was talking about before. When, yeah. Anyway, we spoke about it. It's 9:30.
Here's a question for you.
Show. Go on.
I know it's about the finals. If East Kilbride and Edinburgh Wolves merged together, would they win the Natty?
Nah.
I love that.
Manchester and they won't beat us. So.
Love it.
I would just say they is it fair to say? I don't know. No, just they'd be very good. Very good.
Very good.
I think they just fall short. Think on skill players. I think. But that's not me speaking from enough experience.
Physicality wise, it would be a tough game.
Oh, yeah. They'd be very good. Yeah, they'd be very good. We should do a show on that, like joining them together. Because I think Yorkshire, Sheffield, Bobcats, if they kind of all joined, they've got a competitive Prem team. As opposed to
definitely
second to last team.
Well, I think we're going to wrap up there anyways, aren't we?
I think so, yeah. They'd be freakish at home. They would be the best team in Scotland.
Just before we go.
Oh, it's too stretched.
I know, but it's the best I could do. I mean, unless you can find another one.
I'll just go into one of the many chats and be able to find it.
It is very stretched, though, isn't it?
Very incredibly stretched.
It's the best I could do on like such zero notice.
Someone send me the London is falling picture, please. Okay.
And I've got a great way for it to end. I've just decided. Just you have to put the background on and then we can end as soon as you've got it. So we've just got to keep talking until you can do that because it's like a whole good ending. He's gonna ruin it.
I'll let you
go. Someone just said if they merged together, they'd be the best team in Scotland. They're the only team in Scotland.
Okay, there we go. 1 minute.
Oh, you got it.
I can share the screen so you can see the picture.
That'll do, and then I can still take. Yeah, that's fine. Right, guys. Thanks very much for joining me. Bye-bye.
You ready? Let's do it.